The temperature in the room drops to freezing. Tyler's hands won't stop shaking, but this time it's not withdrawal. A figure made of light stands in the corner of his filthy apartment, and when Tyler looks into those ancient, knowing eyes, he understands with absolute certainty that he's about to see exactly where he's going, and it's not somewhere he wants to go. Disclaimer: this story addresses addiction, theft, and family trauma for educational purposes, to prevent these tragedies and demonstrate Christ's redemptive power. Resources are in the description if you need help. You're probably wondering how a 28-year-old former honor student ended up in a roach-infested studio apartment, face-to-face with Jesus Christ, about to witness visions of hell that would break him completely. Let me take you back to where it all started, back to when Tyler Morrison was just a kid with a good mother and a dangerous choice ahead of him.
If you or someone you know is experiencing abuse, pause this video. I'm putting resources in the description that could save a life.
Addiction doesn't announce itself with sirens and warning labels. It whispers. It promises relief from pain, escape from reality, a few hours of feeling different than you feel right now. And by the time you realize you've been lied to, you're already chained. This is the story of Tyler Morrison, a young man who went from straight-A student to desperate addict in less than 3 years, who stole from the one person who never gave up on him, who hit rock bottom so hard that he should have died there. But he didn't die, because his mother never stopped praying. And on the night Tyler stole her last $47 to buy heroin, when he thought he'd finally crossed a line too far to come back from Jesus, Christ appeared in his apartment and showed him 3 things that would destroy him and remake him in the same night. This isn't a story about addiction being easy to overcome. It's not a fairy tale where prayer instantly fixes brain chemistry. This is a story about the long, brutal road of redemption, about a mother's relentless love, about a God who pursues us into our darkest moments and offers us one more chance when we don't deserve it. Tyler Morrison sat in the back corner of a Starbucks on Lancaster Avenue in West Philadelphia, nursing a black coffee he'd bought with change he'd found in his coat pocket. His hands trembled as he lifted the cup, not from the caffeine. He'd been up for 36 hours straight, chasing the dragon, and his body was starting to crash. The withdrawal was beginning. Muscle aches, nausea, cold sweats. The familiar hell that every addict knows. He needed another hit, but he was completely broke. Tyler was 28 years old but looked 40. His face was gaunt, cheekbones prominent under sallow skin. His hair hung greasy and unwashed. His clothes, jeans, and a hoodie that had once been black but were now a dingy gray, hadn't been washed in weeks. He smelled of sweat, cigarettes, and desperation. 6 years ago, Tyler had graduated from Temple University with honors. He'd had job offers, a girlfriend, a future. His mother, Patricia, had cried tears of joy at his graduation, so proud of her son, who'd beaten the odds, a single mother in a tough neighborhood who'd raised a son who made something of himself. But that Tyler was gone now, buried under years of oxycodone, then heroin, then fentanyl, whatever he could get his hands on to keep the sickness at bay, to keep the demons quiet, to keep existing for one more day. It had started innocently enough, as it always does. A back injury from playing pickup basketball, a doctor's prescription for pain medication, 20 pills that worked so well, made him feel so good that when the prescription ran out, Tyler found ways to get more. Then the prescriptions got harder to obtain. Doctors started asking questions. The DEA cracked down, but Tyler's brain was already rewired, already convinced it needed opioids to function, so he'd turned to street pills, then to heroin because it was cheaper, then to fentanyl because that's what his dealer was cutting the heroin with. 3 years of free fall, 3 years of broken promises to his mother, 3 years of stealing, lying, manipulating, 3 years of hating himself but being unable to stop. Tyler had been to rehab twice. The first time, his mother Patricia had drained her savings $8,000 to send him to a decent facility. He'd stayed clean for 6 weeks after discharge before relapsing. The second time, Patricia had borrowed money from her church, $5,000 she promised to pay back with her retirement checks. Tyler had stayed clean for 3 months before relapsing again. Each relapse broke Patricia's heart a little more. Each lie Tyler told her destroyed a little more trust, but she never stopped loving him, never kicked him out permanently, never gave up hope that her son was still in there somewhere, buried under the addiction. Now Tyler sat in this coffee shop, dope-sick and desperate, trying to figure out his next move. His phone buzzed, his mother calling. Tyler stared at the screen. He knew what the call would be about. Patricia had gotten her Social Security check yesterday, $647 for the month. That money had to cover her rent, $400 for her small apartment in a low-income building, her utilities, about $80, her medications, $75 after Medicare, and food. It was never enough, but it was all she had. Tyler knew his mother would have $40 or $50 left after paying her bills. And he knew with the calculating coldness of an addict that he could manipulate her into giving it to him. He let the call go to voicemail. He couldn't face talking to her yet, not until he'd worked up the courage to do what he was planning to do. Tyler had stolen from his mother before. Small amounts at first, $20 here, $30 there, claiming he needed money for job interviews or work clothes or transportation. Patricia had believed him at first, or at least wanted to believe him. But over time, as the amounts increased and Tyler's lies became more transparent, Patricia had started hiding her money, keeping only a small amount of cash in her apartment, depositing the rest immediately, being more careful. So Tyler had escalated. He'd taken her debit card and memorized her PIN. He'd forged her signature on checks. He'd sold some of her jewelry, including her deceased mother's wedding ring, to a pawn shop for drug money. Each theft destroyed a piece of Tyler's soul. Each time he looked in his mother's eyes and saw the hurt, the betrayal, the confusion, it killed something inside him. But the addiction was stronger than his conscience. The physical need for opioids overrode everything else. Guilt, shame, love, none of it could compete with the desperate craving of an addicted brain. Tyler finished his coffee and walked out of the Starbucks into the cold March morning. He had about 8 hours before the withdrawal would become unbearable. 8 hours to figure out how to get money. He could panhandle, maybe make $20 or $30. Not enough for a decent bag. He could try to sell something, but he'd already sold everything. He owned his laptop, his phone, he was using a burner now, his watch, his guitar. Or he could do what he'd been thinking about since he woke up, go to his mother's apartment and take whatever money she had left. The thought made him sick, but the sickness from withdrawal would be worse, and the withdrawal would win. It always won.
Before we begin, if you believe in second chances and the power of faith, type RESTORE in the comments right now. Let your voice be the spark of hope for a family in need. Show the world your faith in action.
Tyler stood outside his mother's apartment building, a 5-story brick structure in West Philadelphia's Mantua neighborhood. The building had seen better days. The facade was crumbling. Graffiti marked the entrance, and the lobby door's lock had been broken for months. He climbed the stairs to the 3rd floor, apartment 3C. Home, or at least, it used to be home. Tyler hadn't lived here in 2 years. He'd been couch surfing, staying in trap houses, sleeping in his car until it was repossessed, and for the last 3 months, renting a horrific studio apartment in Kensington, Philadelphia's ground zero for the opioid epidemic. He knocked on the door. His mother answered almost immediately, as if she'd been waiting. She probably had been. "Tyler," Patricia said, her voice mixing joy, relief, and worry in equal measure. "I was calling you earlier. Come in, baby." Patricia Morrison was 62 years old, but looked older. Decades of working minimum wage jobs, raising a son alone, and now years of stress watching that son destroy himself had aged her. Her hair was completely gray, her face was lined with worry. Her hands showed the arthritis that made her work as a home health aide increasingly difficult. But her eyes still held love, still held hope, still looked at Tyler and saw her baby boy instead of the addict he'd become. "Hi, Mom," Tyler said, stepping inside. The apartment was small, just a 1-bedroom, but it was clean, organized, filled with photos of Tyler from better times. His high school graduation, his college acceptance letter, photos of him as a child, smiling, innocent. "Have you eaten?" Patricia asked, already moving toward the kitchen. "I made rice and beans. You're too skinny, baby." When's the last time you had a real meal? Tyler couldn't remember. I'm okay, Mom. I actually just came by to see how you're doing. That was a lie. He'd come to steal from her. But looking at her now, seeing her smile, seeing the apartment she worked so hard to keep something in Tyler twisted painfully. Sit down. Let me make you a plate, Patricia said. She moved with purpose, bustling in the tiny kitchen, happy to have something to do for her son. Tyler sat at the small dining table. A Bible lay open there. Patricia had clearly been reading it before he'd knocked. The page was marked at Proverbs 31, the chapter about the virtuous woman. Tyler used to read the Bible with his mother when he was younger, before the addiction. Now the sight of it just made him feel more guilty. Patricia brought him a plate piled high with rice, beans, and chicken she'd somehow stretched from her limited budget. Tyler was hungrier than he'd realized. The withdrawal was sapping his energy, but the food tasted amazing. He couldn't remember the last time he'd eaten something home-cooked. They sat together in comfortable silence for a few minutes. Patricia, just watching her son eat with a mother's satisfaction. Tyler, she finally said, her voice gentle, are you using again? The question hit Tyler like a punch. He looked up, ready to lie, but the words died in his throat. His mother's eyes weren't accusing, just sad, knowing. I can tell, baby, Patricia continued. I've been a mother for 28 years. I know my son, and I can see you're struggling. Tyler felt tears prick his eyes. I'm trying, Mom. I'm really trying, but it's so hard. You don't understand how hard it is. Then help me understand, Patricia said, reaching across the table to take his hand. Talk to me. Let me help you. You can't help me, Tyler said, pulling his hand away. Nobody can help me. This is just who I am now. That's the addiction talking, Patricia said firmly. That's not who you are. You're my son. You're smart, talented, kind. I'm a junkie. Tyler suddenly shouted, standing up. I'm a thief. I steal from you. I lie to you. I'm not the son you think I am, Mom. That person is gone. The outburst hung in the air between them. Tyler immediately regretted it, seeing the pain flash across his mother's face. But Patricia didn't yell back. She didn't cry. She just sat there, looking at him with that same unshakable love. You're still my son, she said quietly, and I'm not giving up on you, ever. You should, Tyler said bitterly. Everyone else has. Well, I'm not everyone else. I'm your mother, and I love you. Nothing you do can change that. Tyler felt the guilt crushing him, because he knew what he was about to do. He'd already made the decision before he came here. The withdrawal was getting worse by the minute. He needed to score soon or he'd be in agony. Mom, I need to ask you something, Tyler began, hating himself. I know you just got your check yesterday, and I know you have bills, but I have a job interview tomorrow in Center City, and I need money for the train fare and maybe to get my shirt dry cleaned and— Stop, Patricia interrupted, her voice sad. Just stop, Tyler. She stood up and walked to her small purse hanging on a hook by the door. She pulled out her wallet and opened it. Tyler could see 3 $20 bills and some singles, $47. All the money she had left until next month. Patricia looked at the money, then at her son, then back at the money. Tyler watched the decision play out on her face. The conflict between wanting to believe him, knowing he was lying, but loving him too much to say no. This is all I have, Tyler, Patricia said, her voice breaking. This is for food for the rest of the month. If I give you this, I have nothing. I'll pay you back, Tyler lied. I promise. As soon as I get the job, Don't make promises you can't keep, Patricia said. Please, don't insult me with lies. They stood there, mother and son, both knowing the truth but neither willing to say it aloud. Finally, Patricia took the 3 $20 bills, $60, and held them out to Tyler. Take it, she said. Mom, you said you needed it for food. I said take it, Patricia repeated, tears now streaming down her face. Because if you don't, you'll just steal it when I'm not looking. At least this way, you're getting it from me with love instead of taking it with dishonesty. Tyler felt like she'd slapped him, because she was right. He would have stolen it. He'd been planning to. He took the money, his hands shaking. Mom, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know you are, baby, Patricia said, pulling him into a hug. But sorry isn't enough anymore. You need to get help. Real help. You need to let Jesus into your heart and let him heal you. Tyler pulled away. He didn't want to hear about Jesus. He didn't want to hear about prayer or faith or healing. He just wanted to score, to get well, to stop the sickness crawling through his veins. I have to go, Tyler said, pocketing the money. Please stay, Patricia begged. Stay here tonight. Sleep on the couch. Let me help you through the withdrawal. We can. Call a treatment center in the morning. I can't, Mom. I have to. I have things to do. Tyler. But he was already at the door, already leaving, already choosing drugs over his mother's love for the 1,000th time. I love you. Patricia called after him as he disappeared down the hallway. Tyler didn't respond, couldn't respond, because if he did, he'd break down completely. Patricia's apartment, 1 hour later. Patricia sat at her dining table, the same Bible still open in front of her, but now her tears were falling on the pages. $60. All she had left. She'd have to go to the food pantry at church. Again. She'd have to ask Sister Williams if she could borrow $20 for her water bill. Again. She'd have to skip her blood pressure medication this month because she couldn't afford it. All because her son was killing himself with drugs and taking her down with him. Patricia wanted to be angry. Part of her was angry. But mostly she just felt broken, defeated, exhausted from years of watching her son destroy himself while being powerless to stop it. God, she prayed aloud, her voice raw. I don't understand. I've prayed for Tyler every single day for 3 years. I've begged you to save him. I've fasted. I've believed. And he just keeps getting worse. She looked up at the ceiling, tears streaming. Why won't you help him? Why won't you answer my prayers? I'm losing him, Lord. I can feel it. He's going to die. And I don't know how to save him. Patricia's body shook with sobs. The fear that she'd carried for years, that she'd get a phone call saying Tyler had overdosed, that she'd have to identify his body, that she'd bury her only child, it all came crashing down on her at once. Please, she wept. Please save my baby. I'm begging you. I know he doesn't deserve it. I know he's done terrible things, but he's still my son. He's still your creation. Please don't give up on him. Please. She cried until she had no tears left. Then she did what she'd done every night for 3 years. She opened her Bible to Psalm 91 and read aloud, He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in whom I trust. Patricia read the entire psalm. Then she prayed specifically for Tyler, not a general prayer, but detailed intercession. She prayed for his protection, for his salvation, for Jesus to appear to him and break through the addiction, for divine intervention, because human intervention had failed. I'm putting Tyler in your hands, Lord, Patricia finally said, because my hands aren't strong enough to hold him anymore. Save him, please, before it's too late. What Patricia didn't know, what she couldn't know, was that her prayer was about to be answered in the most dramatic way possible. Because 4 hours later, while Tyler was smoking heroin in his filthy apartment, convinced he'd finally destroyed his last relationship and burned his final bridge, Jesus Christ was preparing to appear. Tyler Morrison sat on his mattress on the floor of his Kensington studio apartment at 11:47 p.m., the heroin he'd bought with his mother's money warming his blood, the familiar false peace settling over him. The apartment was a disaster. Trash piled in corners, dishes crusted with week-old food. The bathroom was unusable, roaches scattered when lights turned on. The walls were water-stained. The single window was cracked and covered with newspaper. This was the end of the line, the kind of place where people came to die. Tyler had shot up about 20 minutes ago. The rush had faded, leaving him in that floating, numb state that addicts chase. No pain, no guilt, no feelings at all, just artificial peace. He stared at the wall, watching shadows move in the dim light from a single bulb. His mind drifted, thoughts fragmenting, reality becoming soft around the edges. Then the temperature dropped, not gradually, instantly, like someone had opened a door to the Arctic. Tyler's breath became visible. Ice crystals formed on the inside of the window. What the hell? Tyler muttered, his drug-slowed reflexes making him move sluggishly toward the space heater. That's when he felt it. A presence, not physical, but undeniable. Something was in the apartment with him. Tyler spun around, his heart suddenly racing, fight or flight instincts overriding the heroine's numbing effects. The corner of the room was glowing, not like a lamp or a flashlight, like the corner itself was becoming light, golden, warm light that had no visible source, but grew steadily brighter. "This is a bad batch," Tyler said aloud, his voice shaking. "I'm hallucinating. This isn't real." But even as he said it, he knew it was real. This wasn't a hallucination. This was something else entirely. The light took shape. A figure emerged, or rather, became visible, as if he'd been there all along, and Tyler's eyes were only now able to see him. A man in white robes that seemed woven from the light itself. His face was neither young nor old, neither European nor Middle Eastern nor African, somehow all and none simultaneously. But his eyes were ancient, infinite, holding depths of compassion and sorrow and authority that no human eyes could contain. Tyler's drug-fogged brain struggled to process what he was seeing. This was impossible. This didn't happen. People didn't just appear out of light. This had to be Tyler Morrison, the figure said, and his voice filled the entire apartment despite being spoken softly. The voice resonated not just in Tyler's ears, but in his chest, his bones, his very soul. "Do you know who I am?" Tyler's mouth went dry. His whole body began to shake, not from withdrawal this time, but from something primal, something ancient, some part of him that recognized this presence, even if his conscious mind refused to accept it. You're not real," Tyler whispered. "I'm more real than anything you've ever experienced," the man said. "I'm more real than the drugs you just put in your body. I'm more real than the lies you tell yourself. I'm more real than the identity you've built as an addict." The man took a step forward, and Tyler instinctively backed away until his back hit the wall. "I am Jesus Christ," the man said simply, "the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the one your mother has been praying to every single night for 3 years, begging me to save you before you die." Tyler felt his legs give out. He slid down the wall, collapsing to the floor, unable to process what was happening. "This isn't real," he repeated, but his voice lacked conviction. Because deep down, in a place the addiction hadn't reached, Tyler knew exactly who was standing before him. Jesus knelt down so he was at Tyler's eye level. "Your mother gave you $60 tonight," Jesus said, "all the money she had left for the month. She gave it to you knowing you would buy drugs with it, knowing she would go hungry, but she gave it anyway because she loves you more than she loves her own comfort." Tears began streaming down Tyler's face. "And what did you do with that money, Tyler?" Jesus asked, his voice gentle but carrying weight that crushed Tyler's defenses. "You bought heroin. You took your mother's last dollar money she needed for food, and you poisoned yourself with it." "I'm sorry," Tyler sobbed. "I'm so sorry. I'm a piece of shit. I'm worthless. You're mine," Jesus interrupted firmly. "You're created in my image. You're loved by me. You're prayed for constantly by a mother who refuses to give up on you. But Tyler, you're also dying, physically from the drugs, spiritually from the sin. And I've come to show you exactly where you're heading if you don't change." "I can't change," Tyler said desperately. "I've tried. I've been to rehab twice. I always relapse. I'm too far gone. I'm beyond saving." Jesus' expression held such profound sadness that it broke something in Tyler. "No one is beyond saving," Jesus said, "but salvation requires surrender. Complete surrender, and you've never truly surrendered, Tyler. You've bargained, you've negotiated, you've tried to manage your addiction while keeping one foot in it, but you've never fully given it to me." He extended his hand toward Tyler. "Come, I'm going to show you 3 things. Your mother's suffering that you ignore, the death that's coming for you soon if you continue, and the future you could have if you truly surrender. Then you'll choose." "I don't want to see anything," Tyler said, fear overwhelming him. "Please just leave me alone." "I can't do that," Jesus said gently. "Your mother's prayers won't let me. She's built a bridge between heaven and you with her intercession. And tonight, I'm crossing that bridge." Jesus touched Tyler's forehead, and the apartment disappeared. Tyler found himself transported, not physically, but spiritually, standing invisible in his mother's apartment. Patricia sat at her dining table, the same place she'd been hours ago. But now, it was 1 a.m. She was still awake, still praying. Tyler watched as his mother read from her Bible, her lips moving in whispered prayer. The apartment was cold. She'd turned the heat down to save money since Tyler had taken her last cash. She wore a sweater and had a blanket wrapped around her shoulders. On the table in front of her was a piece of paper with numbers written on it. Tyler's stomach dropped as he realized what he was looking at. His mother's budget. Monthly income, $670. Rent, $400. Utilities, $80. Medications, $570. Total, $550. Remaining, $290. Given to Tyler, $60. Final remaining, $32 for food for 1 month, $32. His mother had $32 to feed herself for 30 days. Tyler watched Patricia pull out a calendar and mark off days. She was planning how often she could afford to eat, every other day, maybe every third day if she wanted to make the money stretch. She's starving herself so you can get high, Jesus said quietly beside Tyler. No, Tyler whispered. I didn't know. I didn't think. You didn't want to know, Jesus corrected. You knew she needed that money. But your addiction mattered more. The scene shifted. Tyler watched his mother at her job the next day. She worked as a home health aide, helping elderly patients with basic tasks, bathing, eating, medication management. It was physical work, exhausting for a 62-year-old woman with arthritis. But Patricia did it with love. Tyler watched her care for an elderly man who couldn't feed himself, speaking gently to him, treating him with dignity. Your mother shows more love to strangers than you show to her, Jesus observed. She gives her best to people who can never repay her, while you take from her constantly and give nothing back. Tyler couldn't respond. The shame was suffocating. The scene shifted again. Patricia at the food pantry at her church, standing in line with other struggling families, waiting for her allocation of canned goods and day-old bread. Tyler recognized Sister Williams, one of the church ladies his mother was friends with. Patricia, are you here again? Sister Williams asked with concern. This is the 3rd time this month. I gave my grocery money to Tyler, Patricia admitted quietly. Sister Williams's expression hardened. That boy is going to kill you with stress before the drugs kill him. Why do you keep enabling him? Because he's my son, Patricia said simply. I can't give up on him. You're not helping him by giving him money for drugs, Sister Williams said bluntly. You're helping him destroy himself. I know, Patricia whispered, tears welling up. But what else can I do? If I don't give it to him, he'll steal it. And at least this way, I get to see him. At least this way, I can tell him I love him. If I cut him off completely, I'm afraid I'll never see him again. I'm afraid the next time I hear from him will be the police calling to say he's dead. Sister Williams hugged her friend. Then we need to pray harder, because only God can save Tyler now. He's beyond human help. That's what I do every night, Patricia said. I pray for God to save my baby. That's all I can do. Tyler, watching this scene, felt like his chest was being crushed. His mother was suffering because of him, was sacrificing because of him, was slowly dying from stress because of him. Stop, Tyler begged Jesus. I understand. I've hurt her. I get it. Please stop showing me. Not yet, Jesus said. You need to see the full truth. The scene shifted to later that night. Patricia, alone in her apartment, on her knees beside her bed, praying with an intensity that was almost frightening. Jesus, I'm begging you, she prayed through tears. My son is dying. I can feel it. He's slipping away more every day. The addiction is too strong for him to fight alone. He needs you. He needs a miracle. I'm asking no. I'm demanding that you save him. I've served you my whole life. I've tithed even when I had nothing. I've loved you and trusted you. Now I'm calling in every promise you ever made. Save my son, please, before it's too late. She collapsed forward, sobbing, her body shaking with grief. If you need to take me instead, take me, Patricia prayed desperately. Trade my life for his. Let him live and find you. But please, don't let him die lost. Don't let him die an addict. Save him, Jesus. I'm begging you with everything I have. Tyler couldn't watch anymore. He was crying so hard he could barely breathe. His mother was willing to die for him, to trade her life for his. And what had he done? Stolen from her, lied to her, broken her heart over and over. She loves you the way I love you, Jesus said softly, sacrificially, unconditionally, even when you don't deserve it. That's what real love looks like, Tyler. Not the fleeting feeling you get from heroin. Real love, the kind that suffers and hopes and perseveres.
If this moment is touching your heart, share your story or a prayer request in the comments below. Someone watching may need the encouragement only you can give. Tag a friend who could use this message of hope today.
The scene shifted violently. Tyler found himself standing in an alley in Kensington. It was nighttime, raining, cold. A body lay on the ground, partially hidden behind a dumpster. Tyler approached slowly, dreading what he would see. It was him, his own body, dead, overdosed. Tyler stared at his corpse. His face was blue, foam and vomit around his mouth, his eyes open, staring at nothing. One arm still had the needle in it. This is 3 months from now, Jesus said. If you continue on your current path, you'll buy heroin that's cut with fentanyl, too much fentanyl. You'll inject it in this alley, and you'll be dead before your body hits the ground. No, Tyler whispered. Yes, Jesus said firmly. Addiction is progressive. It gets worse, never better, unless you surrender completely. And you're running out of time, Tyler. Your body can't take much more. The scene shifted. Patricia's apartment. 2 days after Tyler's death, Patricia sat on her couch, holding a framed photo of Tyler from his college graduation, sobbing uncontrollably. A police officer stood awkwardly nearby, having just delivered the news. I'm so sorry for your loss, ma'am, the officer said. Patricia couldn't respond. She just rocked back and forth, clutching the photo, making sounds of pure grief that no mother should ever have to make. Tyler watched his mother's heart break in real time, watched her spirit shatter, watched her lose the will to live because her son, her only child, the person she loved most in the world, was gone. She'll never recover from this, Jesus said quietly. Losing you will kill her slowly. She'll die within 2 years, her heart giving out from grief. You won't just take your own life with your addiction, Tyler. You'll take hers too. The scene shifted to Tyler's funeral. Barely anyone attended. A few people from his mother's church, out of respect for Patricia, but no friends, no co-workers, no community. Because Tyler had burned every relationship, destroyed every connection. The pastor gave a generic eulogy about how Tyler was at peace now and free from his struggles. But even the pastor seemed to be struggling to find anything positive to say about a young man who died of a gross, self-inflicted drug overdose after years of addiction. Patricia sat in the front row, looking 20 years older than she had just days before. Broken, destroyed. This is where your addiction leads, Jesus said. Not just your death, but your mother's destruction, the waste of everything she sacrificed for you. And Tyler, this is the mercy outcome. Mercy? Tyler asked, horrified. Yes, because this assumes you die before you destroy more lives, before you kill someone while driving high, before you give a lethal dose to another addict, before you rob someone and they fight back and you hurt them. This is the best possible ending if you don't change. The scene shifted one final time, and what Tyler saw made him scream. He stood at the edge of an abyss, vast, dark, emanating cold that burned and despair that was physical. And from the darkness came sounds, wailing, weeping, gnashing of teeth. This is hell, Jesus said simply. Not metaphorical, not symbolic, real, eternal, the destination for those who reject me and reject salvation. Tyler saw himself, his soul being pulled toward the darkness. He felt the terror, the regret, the eternal awareness of everything he'd wasted, everyone he'd hurt. And he heard voices from the darkness, including his own voice, older, broken. I thought I had more time. I thought I could get clean eventually. I thought God would understand. I was wrong. I was so wrong. This is where you're heading, Jesus said, and his voice held profound sorrow. Not because I want you there, not because I don't love you, but because you're choosing it every time you choose drugs over surrender, addiction over faith, death over life. The vision ended abruptly. Tyler was back in his apartment, on the bronze's floor, Jesus kneeling beside him, Tyler was shaking so violently he couldn't control his body. He'd seen his death. He'd seen his mother's grief. He'd seen hell. "Please," Tyler gasped. "Please, I don't want that. Any of it. I'll do anything. Anything. Just save me. Please." Jesus placed both hands on Tyler's shoulders, and the touch was like fire and ice, simultaneously burning away the addiction's hold, while freezing the lies Tyler had believed. "Tyler Morrison, I died for you. Even knowing you'd become an addict, even knowing you'd steal from your mother, even knowing how many times you'd choose drugs over me, I still went to the cross for you. My grace is sufficient for all of it, but grace requires repentance, true repentance, complete surrender. I surrender," Tyler sobbed. "I give it all to you. The addiction, the lies, everything. I can't do this alone. I need you." "Then receive me," Jesus said. "Receive my strength, my healing, my redemption, because tomorrow morning, you're going to go to your mother and confess everything. You're going to check yourself into treatment, real treatment, no matter how hard it is. You're going to rebuild your life from nothing, and you're going to use your story to save others." "I will," Tyler promised. "I'll do whatever it takes." Jesus smiled, a smile of such joy and relief that it filled the room with warmth. "Then you are saved, Tyler Morrison. In this moment, you are reborn. The old Tyler, the addict, the thief, the liar is dead. The new Tyler, my son, redeemed and restored, is alive. Go and sin no more." Jesus began to fade, his form dissolving back into light. "Wait," Tyler called out. "Will I see you again?" "I am with you always," Jesus said, his voice echoing as he disappeared. "In every moment, you choose recovery over relapse. In every prayer, in every hard decision, I am there. Never alone, Tyler. Never again." And then he was gone, leaving Tyler alone in his apartment, but not the same Tyler who'd shot heroin 4 hours ago. That Tyler was dead. This Tyler was new. Tyler didn't sleep that night. He couldn't. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the visions Jesus had shown him, his mother starving herself, his own corpse in an alley, hell waiting for him. But he also heard Jesus' words, "You are redeemed. You are mine." At 6 a.m., as gray light began filtering through the newspaper-covered window, Tyler stood up. His body ached, the heroin had worn off completely, and withdrawal was beginning. Muscle cramps, nausea, cold sweats. But this time, Tyler didn't reach for his phone to call his dealer. He reached for his shoes. He had a mother to face, a confession to make, a life to rebuild. Tyler walked the 2 miles from Kensington to his mother's apartment in Mantua. The morning air was cold, and his withdrawal symptoms made every step difficult, but he kept moving. At 7:30 a.m., he knocked on his mother's door. Patricia answered in her robe, clearly just waking up. When she saw Tyler, her expression cycled through surprise, hope, and worry in seconds. "Tyler, what are you?" "Mom," Tyler interrupted, his voice shaking. "I need to tell you something. Can I come in?" Patricia stepped aside, and Tyler entered the apartment. He couldn't sit. He paced, his body restless from withdrawal, and his mind racing with everything he needed to say. "Mom, I need you to just listen, okay? Don't interrupt. Because if I stop talking, I won't be able to start again." Patricia nodded, sitting on the couch, her hands clasped in her lap. Tyler took a deep breath. "Last night, Jesus Christ appeared to me." Patricia's eyes widened, but she stayed silent. "I know that sounds crazy," Tyler continued, "but it happened. I was high in my apartment, and he appeared. And Mom, he showed me things. He showed me your suffering. He showed me how you're starving yourself because I took your money. He showed me my death 3 months from now, overdosed in an alley. He showed me hell, Mom, actual hell, where I was going." Tears streamed down Tyler's face. "And he told me it was because of your prayers, that you've been building a bridge between me and God with your intercession, that he came to save me because you never stopped believing I could be saved." Patricia's own tears began falling. "Mom, I've stolen from you. I've lied to you. I've broken your heart 1,000 times. I took your last $60 last night, money you needed for food, and I bought heroin with it. I've been the worst son anyone could imagine, and you should hate me. You should have given up on me years ago." "I could never hate you," Patricia whispered. "I know," Tyler said, "and that's what Jesus showed me, that your love for me is like his love, unconditional, sacrificial, never giving up, and I don't deserve it, but I'm asking for it anyway. He fell to his knees in front of his mother. I'm done, Mom. I'm surrendering. I'm giving my life to Jesus. I'm going to get clean, really clean, no matter how hard it is. I need you to help me find a treatment program. Today, right now. Because if I wait, I'll change my mind. If I wait, I'll use again. It has to be now. Patricia slid off the couch and wrapped her arms around her son, both of them crying. Thank you, Jesus, Patricia prayed aloud. Thank you for answering my prayers. Thank you for saving my baby. She held Tyler's face in her hands. I'll help you, baby. We'll find a program today. We'll get you help. But Tyler, this is going to be hard. Harder than anything you've ever done. Recovery isn't a one-time decision. It's a daily decision. Every single day, you'll have to choose recovery over drugs. I know, Tyler said, but I'm not doing it alone this time. Jesus is with me. You're with me. And I'm actually surrendering, not just trying to manage it myself. They spent the morning making calls. Patricia had been researching treatment programs for years, hoping Tyler would one day be ready. She had a list. Most programs had waiting lists. Most required insurance Tyler didn't have or money they couldn't afford. But finally, they found one. New Hope Recovery Center in Reading, Pennsylvania. A faith-based program, 60 days inpatient, sliding scale fees based on income. They had one bed available. If Tyler could get there by 3 p.m. today, he could start immediately. We don't have a car, Patricia said, looking at the address. And the bus would take 4 hours. I'll figure it out, Tyler said. I'll hitchhike if I have to. But Patricia made a different call to Pastor Williams at her church. Pastor, I need help. Tyler is ready for treatment. Right now, today. But we need transportation to Reading. Can anyone help us? Within an hour, Pastor Williams and 2 church members were at Patricia's apartment with a van. They'd dropped everything to help. You've been praying for this day for years, Sister Patricia, Pastor Williams said. We're not going to let transportation stop God's answer to your prayers. The drive to Reading took 90 minutes. Tyler sat in the back, his mother beside him holding his hand, withdrawal making him increasingly sick, but determination keeping him focused. Mom, Tyler said quietly, I need to know something. Can you forgive me for everything? Patricia looked at her son, the boy she'd raised, the young man she'd prayed over, the addict she'd never stopped loving. Tyler, I forgave you 3 years ago when this all started, and I've been forgiving you every day since. That's what love does. It forgives before it's even asked. At 2:45 p.m., they arrived at New Hope Recovery Center. The facility wasn't fancy, an old converted school building, but it was clean, organized, and the staff who greeted them seemed genuinely caring. Tyler Morrison? The intake coordinator asked. That's me, Tyler said. We're glad you're here. Let's get you checked in. The goodbye was harder than Tyler expected. He hugged his mother, both of them crying. I'm proud of you, baby, Patricia whispered. So proud. You're doing the hardest thing you'll ever do, but you can do it. With Jesus, you can do it. I love you, Mom, Tyler said, and I'm going to make you proud, really proud. Not like before when I just looked successful on the outside. This time it'll be real. You've always made me proud, Patricia said, because you're my son. That's enough. Tyler entered the facility, the doors closing behind him. 60 days. 60 days of detox, therapy, group sessions, work assignments, and spiritual counseling. 60 days that would save his life. Recovery was hell. That's the truth no one tells you. The movies make it look like you go to rehab, have some profound revelation, and emerge cured. The reality is far more brutal. Tyler's first week was almost unbearable. Detox from heroin is one of the most physically agonizing experiences a human can endure. For 7 days, Tyler vomited, shook, sweated, couldn't sleep, felt like his bones were breaking, experienced anxiety so severe he thought he'd die. The medical staff at New Hope gave him medications to ease some symptoms, but there's no way to make detox easy. You just have to survive it. On the 3rd night, Tyler seriously considered leaving. The pain was too much. His brain screamed for relief that only heroin could provide. He could walk out, call his dealer, be high within an hour. But then he remembered, The vision Jesus had shown him, his corpse in an alley, his mother's grief, hell waiting, and he stayed. On day 4, Pastor James from New Hope sat with Tyler during one of his worst moments. "Why does recovery have to hurt so much?" Tyler gasped between waves of nausea. "Because addiction has consequences," Pastor James said simply. "You spent 3 years poisoning your body and rewiring your brain. You can't undo that in 3 days without pain. But Tyler, this pain has a purpose. This pain is leading somewhere. The pain of addiction, that's endless. It just gets worse until you die. This pain ends, and on the other side is life." Tyler held onto those words like a lifeline. By day 8, the physical symptoms began to ease. Tyler could eat small amounts, could sleep a few hours at a time, could think more clearly. But then, the psychological battle began. In group therapy, Tyler had to face what he'd done, had to tell his story, all of it, holding nothing back. Had to admit to strangers that he'd stolen from his mother, lied to everyone who loved him, chosen drugs over everything that mattered. "I'm a terrible person," Tyler said in one session, his voice breaking. "No," the therapist, Dr. Martinez, corrected firmly. "You made terrible choices. You did terrible things, but you're not a terrible person. You're a person sick with addiction who's now choosing recovery. There's a difference." "How do I live with what I've done?" Tyler asked. "How do I look at myself in the mirror knowing I made my mother go hungry so I could get high?" "By making amends," Dr. Martinez said. "By living differently. By using your story to help others. You can't undo the past, but you can create a different future." Tyler also attended daily spiritual sessions with Pastor James. They worked through the Bible, focusing on passages about redemption, forgiveness, new creation. 2 Corinthians 5:17. Pastor James read, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, the new has come." "Does that really work?" Tyler asked. "Can someone really become new?" "I'm living proof," Pastor James said. "I was a crack addict for 12 years, lost everything, went to prison, destroyed my family. But Jesus met me in that prison cell and made me new. That was 20 years ago. Now I help others find the same redemption I found." Tyler looked at Pastor James, healthy, purposeful, full of joy, and felt a flicker of hope. Maybe he really could change. Maybe the old Tyler could die, and a new Tyler could emerge. The 60 days passed slowly. Some days were good. Tyler felt strong, hopeful, clear-minded. Other days were terrible cravings hit like physical pain, triggering him to remember the false comfort of heroin. But every day, Tyler made the choice to stay. Every day, he chose recovery over relapse. Patricia visited twice during his stay. The facility only allowed visitors after 30 days, and even then, only on specific visiting days. The first visit, Tyler almost couldn't face his mother. The guilt was overwhelming, but Patricia hugged him and said, "I'm so proud of you, baby. 30 days clean. That's huge." "I broke your heart," Tyler said, "and now you're healing it," Patricia replied. "By getting well, by choosing life. That's all I've ever wanted." On day 60, New Hope held a small graduation ceremony for residents completing the program. Tyler was one of 5 people graduating that week. Patricia attended, along with Pastor Williams and several church members who'd been praying for Tyler throughout his time in treatment. Tyler stood before the small crowd and gave his testimony. 60 days ago, I walked through those doors as a heroin addict. I'd stolen from my mother, lied to everyone, destroyed every relationship. I was 3 months away from dying of an overdose in an alley. He looked at his mother in the audience, but my mom never stopped praying for me, even when I gave her every reason to give up, even when I took her last dollar to buy drugs. She prayed, and Jesus answered. He appeared to me in my apartment and showed me where I was heading. He gave me a choice, death or life, addiction or surrender. I chose life. I chose surrender. And these 60 days have been the hardest days of my life. But they've also been the most important, because I'm not the same person who walked in here. The old Tyler, the addict, the thief, he's dead. This is the new Tyler, sober, honest, surrendered to Jesus. The audience applauded. Patricia cried tears of joy. After the ceremony, As they prepared to drive back to Philadelphia, Tyler pulled his mother aside. "Mom, I know I can't move back in with you. I know I need to maintain my recovery in a structured environment. The program found me a place in a sober living house in Philly. I'll have roommates who are also in recovery. We'll hold each other accountable." "I think that's wise," Patricia said. "But Mom, I want you to know, I'm going to pay you back. Every dollar I stole, it's going to take time. I need to find a job, stay clean, rebuild my life. But I'm going to make it. Right. Tyler, I don't care about the money, but I do," Tyler interrupted gently, "because paying you back is part of my recovery, part of making amends, part of taking responsibility instead of just saying I'm sorry." Patricia hugged her son. "Then I'll accept it, not because I need it, but because you need to give it." Tyler stood in the community room of the sober living house on a Wednesday evening, leading a group of 15 men in a recovery meeting. He'd been clean for 1 year, 2 months, and 13 days. 438 days without heroin. 438 days of choosing recovery. It hadn't been easy. Tyler had faced countless moments where he'd wanted to use. Triggers everywhere, old neighborhoods, former friends, stressful situations. But each time, he'd reached out instead of reaching for drugs, called his sponsor, went to a meeting, prayed, did anything other than use. He'd also rebuilt his life piece by piece. First, he'd found a job, nothing glamorous, just working stock at a warehouse, minimum wage, manual labor, but honest work that paid honest money. He'd started attending a church, the same church his mother went to. At first, people had been skeptical. They'd watched Tyler struggle for years. But slowly, as they saw him stay clean, saw him change, they'd accepted him back. He'd also started making amends. Every payday, Tyler gave his mother $50, not because she asked for it, but because he'd calculated how much he'd stolen over the years, approximately $3,000, and was methodically paying it back. "Mom, you don't have to do this," Patricia had said the first time. "Yes, I do," Tyler had replied. "Let me do this." Now, 1 year clean, Tyler had also started speaking at recovery meetings, sharing his story, helping newcomers navigate the brutal early days. "My name is Tyler, and I'm an addict," he said to the group of men in the sober living house. "Hi, Tyler," they responded. "I've been clean for 1 year, 2 months, and 13 days, and I need you to understand something. That doesn't make me cured. That doesn't make me safe. I'm one bad decision away from relapse at any moment. Addiction is a chronic disease. It doesn't go away, but it can be managed, 1 day at a time." He looked around, the room at the struggling men, some just days clean, some months, all fighting the same battle. "A year ago, I was shooting heroin in a disgusting apartment in Kensington. I'd stolen my mother's last $60 to buy drugs. I'd burned every bridge, destroyed every relationship, and I was convinced I was beyond saving. But that night, Jesus Christ appeared to me. I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm just telling you what happened. He showed me my death, my mother's grief, and hell, and he gave me a choice, surrender everything or lose everything. I chose surrender, and it saved my life." Tyler's voice grew stronger. "But here's what they don't tell you in the movies. Surrender isn't a one-time thing. It's daily. Every single morning, I wake up and surrender again. I say, Jesus, I can't stay clean on my own today. I need you. Take my addiction, take my cravings. Give me strength for the next 24 hours. And he does. A young man in the back raised his hand. "But what if you relapse? What if you screw up? Does that mean God gives up on you?" Tyler smiled sadly. "I've asked myself that question 100 times. And here's what I've learned. Relapse doesn't disqualify you from grace. It just means you need to surrender again. Jesus didn't save me because I'm strong. He saved me because he's merciful. And that mercy doesn't run out." After the meeting, several guys approached Tyler to thank him for sharing. One man, Marcus, 23 years old, 4 days clean, pulled Tyler aside. "Man, I'm struggling," Marcus admitted. "I want to leave. I want to use so bad I can barely think straight." "I know," Tyler said. "I've been exactly where you are. And I'm not going to lie to you, it doesn't get easier immediately. But it does get easier eventually. And you just have to get through today, not tomorrow." Not next week. Just today. How do I do that? Marcus asked desperately. You call me, Tyler said, handing him a piece of paper with his phone number. Anytime, day or night. You feel like using, you call me. We'll talk until the craving passes. That's how this works. We don't stay clean alone. We stay clean together. Marcus took the number, tears in his eyes. Thanks, man. Tyler watched the young man walk away and felt a profound sense of purpose. This was why Jesus had saved him, not just for his own sake, but so he could help save others. Tyler stood at his mother's apartment door with a wrapped gift in his hands. It had been 2 years since Jesus had appeared to him, 730 days clean, the longest stretch of sobriety he'd had since the addiction began. Patricia opened the door, her face lighting up when she saw him. Tyler, come in, baby. Tyler entered and handed her the gift. Happy birthday, Mom. Patricia unwrapped it carefully. Inside was a jewelry box. She opened it and gasped. It was her mother's wedding ring, the one Tyler had pawned years ago for drug money. How did you? Patricia couldn't finish the sentence. I've been saving for 8 months, Tyler explained. I found the pawn shop where I'd sold it, tracked it down, and bought it back. Mom, I'm so sorry I took it in the first place. I'm sorry I stole your memories. This doesn't undo what I did, but... Patricia threw her arms around her son, crying. Thank you, baby. Thank you so much. They spent the evening together, just a balan. Quiet dinner, conversation, laughter. Simple moments that were more precious than gold because Tyler was actually present, clear-minded, sober, himself. Mom, Tyler said over dessert, I need to tell you something. I've been accepted to community college. I'm going to finish my degree. It'll take me 3 years going part-time while I work, but I'm doing it. Patricia's eyes filled with tears, happy tears this time. Tyler, I'm so proud of you. I'm also doing something else, Tyler continued. I'm starting to speak at churches and schools about addiction, telling my story, warning kids about how this starts, helping parents recognize signs of addiction in their children. That's wonderful, Patricia said. I want to use the worst thing I ever did, stealing from you, hurting you, and turn it into something that saves other families from going through what we went through. Patricia reached across the table and took her son's hand. You know what Jesus does? He takes the worst, things we've experienced, and uses them for good. He redeems everything. That's what he's doing with your story. 5 years after Jesus appeared in a filthy Kensington apartment, Tyler Morrison stood on a stage at a recovery conference in Pittsburgh, addressing an audience of 2,000 people, addicts, family members, recovery professionals, pastors. He was 33 years old, 5 years clean. He'd completed his associate's degree and was working on his bachelor's in social work. He worked full-time as a peer recovery specialist, helping other addicts navigate early recovery. He'd spoken at over 100 churches, schools, and conferences. His testimony had been featured in a documentary about the opioid crisis. My name is Tyler Morrison, he began, and 5 years ago, I was a heroin addict who'd stolen his mother's last $60 to get high. I was 3 months away from dying of an overdose. I'd destroyed every relationship, burned every bridge, and convinced myself I was beyond saving. The audience was silent, engaged. But my mother, Patricia Morrison, never gave up on me. She prayed for me every single night for 3 years. And one night, Jesus Christ answered those prayers in the most dramatic way possible. He appeared to me. Tyler shared the story, all of it. The addiction, the theft, the appearance, the visions, the choice, the recovery. Recovery is hard, Tyler said, his voice strong. I'm not going to stand here and tell you it's easy, or that prayer solves everything instantly. I still struggle. I still have days where I want to use. I still have to make the conscious choice to stay clean every single day. But here's what I know. I'm not doing it alone. Jesus walks with me every step. My mother supports me. My recovery community holds me accountable. And because of that, I've been clean for 1,826 days. And I'm going to be clean for one more day tomorrow. He looked out at the audience. If you're struggling with addiction right now, hear me. You're not beyond saving. You're not too far gone. Jesus came for people exactly like you, like me, the broken, the addicted, the ones who've destroyed their own lives and hurt everyone around them. But salvation requires surrender, complete surrender. You can't manage addiction. You can't bargain with it. You can't keep one foot in recovery and one foot in using. You have to surrender everything to Jesus and trust Him to carry you through the hell of recovery. After his talk, hundreds of people approached Tyler, some to thank him, some to ask for advice, some to share their own stories. One mother grabbed his hand, tears streaming. "My son is where you were 5 years ago. I've been praying for him for 2 years. Hearing your story gives me hope. Thank you. Don't stop praying," Tyler told her. "Your prayers matter more than you know. My mother's prayers saved my life." Later that evening, Tyler called his mother from his brand hotel room. "How'd the conference go, baby?" Patricia asked. "Good, Mom. Really good. I think the message reached some people who needed to hear it. I'm proud of you," Patricia said for the 1,000th time. "Mom, I need to tell you something," Tyler said. "Tomorrow, I'm flying to Los Angeles. There's a church there that wants me to speak. And after that, I'm going to San Francisco, then Seattle, then Denver. I've been invited to do a speaking tour, 6 cities in 2 months. That's wonderful," Patricia said. "But Mom, the best part, the church in LA is paying me $5,000, and they're covering all my travel expenses. It's the first time I'm actually getting paid to share my testimony. Tyler, that's amazing. And Mom, I'm giving you that $5,000. It's the last payment. With this, I'll have paid back every dollar I stole from you over the years, plus interest." Patricia was quiet for a moment. "Baby, you didn't have to do that." "Yes, I did," Tyler said. "It's part of my recovery, part of making amends, part of becoming the man God created me to be instead of the addict I became." "Then I accept it," Patricia said. "And I'm going to do something with it. I'm going to donate it to New Hope Recovery Center in your name, because they saved you, and this money can help save someone else's son or daughter." Tyler felt tears well up. That was so perfectly his mother taking his attempt at restitution and turning it into something that would help others. "I love you, Mom," Tyler said. "I love you too, baby. And I'll never stop praying for you, never stop believing in you." After they hung up, Tyler sat on the edge of the hotel bed and prayed. "Jesus, 5 years ago you appeared to me when I didn't deserve it. You showed me truth when I was living in lies. You gave me a choice when I'd thrown away every chance. And you walked with me through the hell of recovery." He paused, overwhelmed with gratitude. "Thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you for hearing my mother's prayers. Thank you for saving my life. And please, use my story to save others. Let every person who hears my testimony know that they're not too far gone, that your grace reaches into the darkest places, that surrender leads to freedom." Tyler lay back on the bed, exhausted but fulfilled. 5 years clean, a life rebuilt, a future full of purpose. The old Tyler, the addict who'd stolen from his mother, was dead. This Tyler, redeemed, restored, surrendered to Jesus, was alive, and that was worth more than all the heroin in the world. Addiction is one of the most devastating forces in modern society. The opioid crisis alone has killed hundreds of thousands of people, sons, daughters, mothers, fathers. Behind every statistic is a family destroyed, a potential unrealized, a life cut tragically short. But this story isn't ultimately about addiction. It's about redemption. It's about a mother who refused to give up when everyone else said she should. About prayers that build bridges between heaven and a filthy apartment in Kensington. About a God who pursues us into our darkest moments and offers us one more chance. If you're watching this and you're struggling with addiction, or you love someone who is, hear this. Recovery is possible. Not easy, not quick, not guaranteed, but possible. Addiction rewires your brain. It makes you believe lies, that you're worthless, that you're beyond saving, that using is the only way to feel normal. But those are lies from the pit of hell. The truth is that you're created in God's image, loved by Him, and worth saving. But salvation requires surrender. You can't manage addiction on your own. You can't bargain with it or control it. You have to completely surrender it to Jesus and let Him carry you through the brutal process of recovery. And to the mothers, fathers, family members watching this, while a loved one destroys themselves with addiction, don't give up. Your prayers matter. Patricia's prayers saved Tyler's life. Your prayers might save the life of someone you love, but also know this: you can't save them. Only God can. You can love them. You can pray for them. You can support their recovery when they're ready, but you can't force them to get clean. That decision has to be theirs. And sometimes often loving an addict means setting boundaries, means refusing to enable, means saying no when every part of you wants to say yes. Patricia gave Tyler her last $60 because she knew he'd steal it anyway, but she also let him hit bottom. She didn't rescue him from consequences. And ultimately, those consequences combined with her prayers led to Jesus appearing. Recovery resources are in the description. If you need help, please reach out. Call the number. Go to the website. Don't wait. Don't think you'll quit tomorrow. Tomorrow might be too late. Tyler Morrison got a second chance because Jesus appeared on the exact right night. Not everyone gets that dramatic intervention. Most people have to choose recovery without a vision of hell. Most people have to surrender without seeing Jesus face to face. But Jesus is still there, still offering grace, still ready to save. The question is, will you surrender? 5 years after Jesus appeared in a filthy Kensington apartment, Tyler Morrison stood on a stage at a recovery conference in Pittsburgh, addressing an audience of 2,000 people, addicts, family members, recovery professionals, pastors. He was 33 years old, 5 years clean. He'd completed his associate's degree and was working on his bachelor's in social work. He worked full-time as a peer recovery specialist, helping other addicts navigate early recovery. He'd spoken at over 100 churches, schools, and conferences. His testimony had been featured in a documentary about the opioid crisis. "My name is Tyler Morrison," he began, "and 5 years ago, I was a heroin addict who'd stolen his mother's last $60 to get high. I was 3 months away from dying of an overdose. I'd destroyed every relationship, burned every bridge, and convinced myself I was beyond saving." The audience was silent, engaged, but my mother, Patricia Morrison, never gave up on. She prayed for me every single night for 3 years. And one night, Jesus Christ answered those prayers in the most dramatic way possible. He appeared to me. Tyler shared the story, all of it. The addiction, the theft, the appearance, the visions, the choice, the recovery. "Recovery is hard," Tyler said, his voice strong. "I'm not going to stand here and tell you it's easy, or that prayer solves everything instantly. I still struggle. I still have days where I want to use. I still have to make the conscious choice to stay clean every single day. But here's what I know. I'm not doing it alone. Jesus walks with me every step. My mother supports me. My recovery community holds me accountable. And because of that, I've been clean for 1,826 days. And I'm going to be clean for one more day tomorrow." He looked out at the audience. "If you're struggling with addiction right now, hear me. You're not beyond saving. You're not too far gone. Jesus came for people exactly like you, like me, the broken, the addicted, the ones who've destroyed their own lives and hurt everyone around them. But salvation requires surrender, complete surrender. You can't manage addiction. You can't bargain with it. You can't keep one foot in recovery and one foot in using. You have to surrender everything to Jesus and trust Him to carry you through the hell of recovery." After his talk, hundreds of people approached Tyler, some to thank him, some to ask for advice, some to share their own stories. One mother grabbed his hand, tears streaming. "My son is where you were 5 years ago. I've been praying for him for 2 years. Hearing your story gives me hope. Thank you." "Don't stop praying," Tyler told her. "Your prayers matter more than you know." My mother's prayers saved my life. Later that evening, Tyler called his mother from his hotel room. "How'd the conference go, baby?" Patricia asked. "Good, Mom. Really good. I think the message reached some people who needed to hear it." "I'm proud of you," Patricia said for the 1,000th time. "Mom, I need to tell you something," Tyler said. "Tomorrow, I'm flying to Los Angeles. There's a church there that wants me to speak. And after that, I'm going to San Francisco, then Seattle, then Denver. I've been invited to do a speaking tour 6 cities in 2 months." "That's wonderful," Patricia said. "But Mom, the best part, the church in LA is paying me $5,000, and they're covering all my travel expenses. It's the first time I'm actually getting paid to share my testimony. Tyler, that's amazing. And Mom, I'm giving you that $5,000. It's the last payment. With this, I'll have paid back every dollar I stole from you over the years, plus interest. Patricia was quiet for a moment. Baby, you didn't have to do that. Yes, I did, Tyler said. It's part of my recovery, part of making amends, part of becoming the man God created me to be instead of the addict I became. Then, I accept it, Patricia said, and I'm going to do something with it. I'm going to donate it to New Hope Recovery Center in your name, because they saved you. And this money can help save someone else's son or daughter. Tyler felt tears well up. That was so perfectly his mother taking his attempt at restitution and turning it into something that would help others. I love you, Mom, Tyler said. I love you too, baby. And I'll never stop praying for you. Never stop believing in you. After they hung up, Tyler sat on the edge of the hotel bed and prayed. Jesus, 5 years ago you appeared to me when I didn't deserve it. You showed me truth when I was living in lies. You gave me a choice when I'd thrown away every chance. And you walked with me through the hell of recovery. He paused, overwhelmed with gratitude. Thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you for hearing my mother's prayers. Thank you for saving my life. And please, use my story to save others. Let every person who hears my testimony know that they're not too far gone, that your grace reaches into the darkest places, that surrender leads to freedom. Tyler lay back on the bed, exhausted but fulfilled. 5 years clean. A life rebuilt, a future full of purpose. The old Tyler, the addict who'd stolen from his mother, was dead. This Tyler, redeemed, restored, surrendered to Jesus, was alive, and that was worth more than all the heroin in the world. Reflection, music, contemplative, hopeful, eternal perspective. Addiction is one of the most devastating forces in modern society. The opioid crisis alone has killed hundreds of thousands of people, sons, daughters, mothers, fathers. Behind every statistic is a family destroyed, a potential unrealized, a life cut tragically short. But this story isn't ultimately about addiction. It's about redemption. It's about a mother who refused to give up when everyone else said she should. About prayers that build bridges between heaven and a filthy apartment in Kensington. About a God who pursues us into our darkest moments and offers us one more chance. If you're watching this and you're struggling with addiction, or you love someone who is, hear this. Recovery is possible. Not easy, not quick, not guaranteed, but possible. Addiction rewires your brain. It makes you believe lies, that you're worthless, that you're beyond saving, that using is the only way to feel normal. But those are lies from the pit of hell. The truth is that you're created in God's image, loved by Him, and worth saving. But salvation requires surrender. You can't manage addiction on your own. You can't bargain with it or control it. You have to completely surrender it to Jesus and let Him carry you through the brutal process of recovery. And to the mothers, fathers, family members watching this, while a loved one destroys themselves with addiction, don't give up. Your prayers matter. Patricia's prayers saved Tyler's life. Your prayers might save the life of someone you love. But also know this. You can't save them. Only God can. You can love them. You can pray for them. You can support their recovery when they're ready. But you can't force them to get clean. That decision has to be theirs. And sometimes, often loving an addict means setting boundaries, means refusing to enable, means saying no when every part of you wants to say yes. Patricia gave Tyler her last $60 because she knew he'd steal it anyway. But she also let him hit bottom. She didn't rescue him from consequences. And ultimately, those consequences, combined with her prayers, led to Jesus appearing. Recovery resources are in the description. If you need help, please reach out. Call the number. Go to the website. Don't wait. Don't think you'll quit tomorrow. Tomorrow might be too late. Tyler Morrison got a second chance because Jesus appeared on the exact right night. Not everyone gets that dramatic intervention. Most people have to choose. Recovery without a vision of hell. Most people have to surrender without seeing Jesus face to face. But Jesus is still there, still offering grace, still ready to save. The question is, will you surrender?
Subscribe to Tales of God's Grace for more true miracles and stories of redemption. Your support helps us reach and restore families around the world. Don't forget to tag a friend and share this video, so together we can spread faith, love, and healing where it's needed most.